Hello everyone. Welcome to Podcast Buddhism, the best channel for sharing knowledge about Buddhism. Today, we will talk about the topic, 108 Teachings of the Dalai Lama. Join us as we explore the profound wisdom and guidance from these teachings, which can help us navigate life's challenges and transform our destinies. 108 Teachings of the Dalai Lama, helping you transform your fate. 1. Whenever you feel confused and lack confidence, think immediately of the wonderful qualities inherent in you. These qualities are just waiting to be nurtured. So cherish the joy of recognizing this precious treasure within you. Joy is a strength, so cultivate it. 2. The key to your happiness is being content with who you are at the present moment. This inner satisfaction will transform your perception of everything around you, and you will undoubtedly find peace within. 3. When someone causes you harm, do not hesitate to forgive them. The reason is that when you think about what drove them to act in such a way, you will realize that it is their own suffering, not a deliberate intent to hurt you. Forgiveness is a positive response based on thoughtful consideration, not just letting things slide. It is a conscious act based on understanding and accepting the reality of the situation. 4. Give to others without expecting anything in return and without any calculation. Giving not for pleasure or to be loved, but out of genuine compassion brings true happiness. Morality is based on a firm determination to help others. The only thing that can bring all sentient beings together is love. 5. Be grateful to your enemies, for they are your greatest teachers. They train you to endure suffering and develop patience, tolerance, and compassion without expecting any reward. 6. The most beautiful adornments you possess are love and compassion. If you seek what can bring you happiness and peace, you will find that they are closely tied to the human qualities you cultivate in your heart and your state of mind. 7. External disarmament is impossible without internal disarmament. Violence begets violence. Only inner peace can lead to a tranquil and non-confrontational life. Global disarmament is one of my deepest dreams, yet it remains just a dream. 8. Mental and emotional suffering is like a guide helping you see whether your attitude is right or wrong. Finding meaning in your life will calm your mind or help you rise above your suffering, which means changing your mental outlook. 9. Rejoice in the happiness of others, for it is an opportunity to create moments of joy for yourself. Be happy when you are happy, because loving others is achieved by not focusing solely on your own affection. Loving others will help you develop stability and confidence. How you perceive the situations in your life will lead to neutral, happy, or painful states you experience. Love and compassion dissolve the fear that arises from the belief that life is imposed upon us without our choice. Once these positive emotions emerge within you, confidence will appear, and fear will vanish. Your mind creates the world you live in. 11. Training the mind helps you live in harmony with yourself and others, no matter the circumstances. Nothing and no one can make a person unhappy if they possess a clear mind free from emotions arising from conflicting sentiments. 12. Happiness cannot be found if we don't look at reality and instead chase illusions. Reality is neither good nor bad. Things are as they are, not necessarily as we want them to be. Understanding and accepting this is one of the keys to happiness. 13. Buddhism teaches that the moments before death are crucial because they prepare us for our existence in the bardo, the intermediate state between death and rebirth that begins after the last breath. To live with a peaceful mind in those final moments, practitioners must prepare throughout their lives, and in those last moments, focus their minds on deep compassion, the bond between teacher and student, or on emptiness and impermanence. To ensure a favorable rebirth, understanding that death can occur at any time teaches us to live fully in each moment and die in peace. 14. Anger, hatred, and animosity always need an object to manifest, just as fire needs dry wood to ignite. When faced with adversity or provocation, use the strength of patience to avoid falling under the influence of negative emotions. Patience arises from unwavering endurance. If you develop patience, nothing and no one can disturb your mind. 15. Organize your life around valuable things that give meaning to your existence, which means not letting worldly pleasures and external distractions pull you away from your true self. Live a life with a great purpose. the ideal of serving others. 16. If an action is kind, it cannot be judged as small or large, because all acts of kindness contribute to building peace in the world. The only important thing is to give everything to others and find happiness in that. The greatest human quality is selflessness. 17. Do not waste time on envy or arguments. Reflect on impermanence to realize the value of life. To create peace in your mind and heart, you must change mental habits. If you do not want to go mad when you must leave this world, practice now to understand that you should not cling to anything and not dream that these things will accompany you in death. 18. Do not neglect your body, but also do not be overly concerned with it. Respect it and take care of it as a precious and necessary tool to help your mind attain enlightenment. 19. Your actions reflect your thoughts and emotions. By themselves, actions are neither positive nor negative. They are positive or negative depending on the intention that motivates them. It is this intention that creates karma, the experiences generated by the law of cause and effect, making your life appear happy or sorrowful. 20. In giving, the first rule is not to harm others. This way you also avoid harming yourself, because causing harm to others means creating harm for yourself. 21. You cannot hold on to the present. Nothing lasts forever in this world. Nothing exists independently. Why strive to grasp and hold on to sensory objects in the present? They do not contain any inherent substance. They are merely the result of countless causes and conditions. They are not born to last, because they are always changing every moment. Therefore, do not cling to anything. 22. Uncontrolled desire makes the mind a slave and will never allow it to be at peace, because it constantly creates countless situations in daily life, pushing it to pursue objects of desire that it has not yet attained. Controlling and overcoming desire will free you from all situations, whether they are of happiness or suffering, and will bring peace to your heart and mind. 23. Practicing patience is developing compassion toward those who hurt you without letting them destroy you. Compassion is the best healer for the mind, freeing it from attachments and conflicting impulses. 24. It is because of ignorance and a lack of clear understanding that we continuously create misfortune for ourselves. The mind is always torn between what it likes and what it dislikes. We act without regard for the situations we face. We forget that nothing exists independently. We also forget that we can die at any time. 25. Attachment to sensory objects makes the mind crave and become unhealthy. Accumulating wealth does not correspondingly bring peace to the mind. Look at those who have plenty of material comforts. They can provide for themselves all their lives, yet they live in worry, sadness, dissatisfaction, and isolation. They do not understand that giving brings the greatest joy. They cannot see that they do not need a lot of wealth to give a smile that brings happiness to others. Their material comforts are abundant, yet they do not bring them any happiness, because the only way to improve one's inner life is through spiritual practice. 26. I vow to use my existence and not waste a single moment to help free sentient beings from suffering and the causes of suffering, and help them find happiness and see the causes that bring happiness. I will always remember that compassion for others must begin with compassion for oneself, but that compassion must be free of any trace of selfishness, because we all belong to the same community of sentient beings. 27. Confidence achieved through analytical meditation will transform the mind. This transformation takes time and is very similar to scientific methods. Analyzing the emotions that disturb and unsettle the mind helps one choose the most effective and appropriate remedies for one's goals, such as freeing oneself from disturbing emotions to achieve enlightenment. Remember that two opposing impulses cannot coexist in the mind. So if you become angry at someone, immediately think of generating love for that person. If love arises in your heart, anger will disappear from your mind. Love is the remedy for anger. 28. Everything is impermanent, and it is precisely because of this that we can transform the mind and the disturbing emotions that unsettle it. For example, the manifestation of emotions like hatred and anger depends on the situations that arise. By themselves, they do not contain any inherent reality, nor do they exist permanently in the mind. This fact allows us to overcome, transform, and eliminate them. To achieve this, we must place them in the contexts in which they arise and analyze how they manifest in situations to understand them. Achieving a state of lasting happiness means eliminating negative emotions from the mind. 29. Suffering is neither irrational nor useless. It is simply the result of karma, the law of cause and effect that governs cycles of existence. It is challenging to understand this without believing in reincarnation. Our thoughts and actions from past lives produce consequences, either positive or negative, depending on the motivating intentions. This principle is always true for any nation or society. What happens to the Tibetan people is a result of karma. However, this does not mean we should not strive to restore human rights in Tibet, nor should the unique beliefs, ancient philosophy, and culture representing our civilization be disrespected. Do not confuse karma with fate. Learn from life's lessons to act positively and responsibly. 30. How can we foster world peace if we do not respect nature? All of us, from humans to animals, are united in the universal desire to avoid suffering and create favorable conditions for a good and peaceful life. It is crucial to always remind ourselves that the wish to be free from suffering is the most fundamental right of all sentient beings. To help everyone respect this right, we must first transform ourselves to set an example for others. Practicing compassion is the core of the Buddhist path. Developing this quality is essential because it helps us act rightly for the happiness of others and understand how to avoid creating the causes of suffering for ourselves and others. This means avoiding negative karma. Compassion is a profound emotion directed toward all who suffer without any discrimination. It arises from the deep desire to help others. A Buddhist practitioner should remind themselves daily with the following wish: may I be able to help all sentient beings eliminate suffering and its causes, and help them see the causes and conditions for enlightenment. 32. We all desire happiness. No one wishes to suffer. Understanding this is crucial for transforming our minds. Once we realize this reality, an immense sense of affection and compassion for others will arise within us. However, this can only happen if we also show love and respect for ourselves. It is delusional to think we can love others while hating ourselves and rejecting our own reality. 33. The principle of interdependence among all beings and phenomena shows that we are always connected to others, nature, and the universe. We all depend on each other, indicating that we must take responsibility for our thoughts, lifestyle, and even the smallest actions because they impact the entire universe. Moreover, since everything is interconnected, we must help all sentient beings eliminate suffering and recognize the sources of happiness. Helping others means addressing the causes of suffering, which directly relate to all of us. This is the correct understanding of the law of interdependence. 34. Whether we receive guidance from a teacher or not, each of us must find a suitable practice that meets our own needs. This principle is essential for transforming our inner self, bringing peace to our minds, and cultivating positive qualities to become better people. Therefore, it is crucial for teachers to tailor their teachings to the spiritual inclinations and mental capacities of each individual, just as the Buddha did in his time. Just as we do not all eat the same food as our neighbors, each person eats according to their body's needs, so it is with spiritual nourishment. 35. Our happiness depends on the happiness of others, so it is vital to do everything possible to help others achieve happiness. Sometimes we may feel powerless to help others, but we must not lose heart and continue to act positively. Doing so enables us to develop genuine altruism within ourselves, bringing peace to our minds. 36. If helping others seems too difficult, then act selfishly but intelligently. This means understanding that doing good for others will create more friendly relationships and better conditions for our own happiness and peace. 37. Methods to cultivate compassion must be developed alongside understanding and wisdom to lead to proper and appropriate actions. Knowledge and wisdom are indispensable in understanding the true nature of all things and the fundamental nature of the mind. Accurately assessing our perceptions and experiences can only be achieved by observing an object or situation from multiple perspectives, providing a clear and appropriate response to overcome negative reactions and emotions. 38. To attain enlightenment, it is crucial to perceive reality correctly. To grasp this reality more easily, Buddhism advocates the concept of two truths: relative truth and absolute truth. Relative truth is what we perceive with our senses. Absolute truth is indescribable because it transcends all concepts. According to the scriptures, these two truths complement each other, cannot be separated, and must always depend on each other, like a bird needing both wings to fly. Reality depends on both truths. 39. Typically, we perceive the nature of things incorrectly. The discrepancy between what is real and what we perceive is the cause of suffering. Transforming the mind to see reality means learning to see it as it is, without interpretation, honestly and in the present moment. This way, we will no longer grasp reality according to the projections of our minds. This is the fundamental condition for achieving peace of mind. 40. Facing the suffering of others can sometimes overwhelm us, and their suffering can increase our own difficulties. These feelings are not experiences of compassion. True compassion will ignite boundless courage within us, rather than anxiety or horror. The desire to do everything possible to alleviate the suffering of others becomes more important than our own suffering. Actions driven by compassion bring boundless joy. 41. All composite things eventually dissolve. They are impermanent, temporary, and transient. Our bodies are the same, yet we often forget this because we cling too much to our bodies. For some, thinking about this truth brings great suffering. Understanding the true nature of all things helps us accept that nothing exists independently and that suffering is also transient and non-existent in itself. This understanding helps us feel lighter when facing difficult and frustrating situations in life or dealing with specific challenges. 42. Some aspirations or desires can be accepted in spiritual practice. For instance, a practitioner's desire to control their mind or a theist's wish to please God are legitimate. However, desires directed toward external objects only create attachment and negative emotions in the mind, which are not legitimate. It is crucial to limit such desires and attachments. It is an illusion to believe that the external world will one day satisfy our desires. 43. Tibetans greatly emphasize the prenatal period. From conception to the end of pregnancy, the mother must keep her mind calm and feel happy and peaceful, which helps the fetus develop harmoniously. In the Western world, this attitude is becoming more common, and many are beginning to understand that a worried, angry, greedy, or envious mother negatively impacts the fetus. We should encourage mothers to breastfeed if possible, as breast milk reflects a love for humanity. Medical discoveries show that affectionate gestures toward an infant play a significant role in its brain development. 44. Improving the mind can sometimes seem challenging for modern Westerners in today's societal context. However, it all depends on our determination, which brings boundless enthusiasm for practice regardless of circumstances. Therefore, if we are sincere, we can practice to transform our minds while continuing our work, family life, and daily activities. 45. Transforming the mind, developing qualities of love and compassion, and improving ourselves depend on our determination. To strengthen and stimulate this determination, we need to turn inward, carefully observe ourselves, and foster a desire to improve and learn. Through intelligence, we must strive to maintain a positive direction, and wisdom will grow accordingly. This approach, at least initially, must rely on intelligence and reason. 46. Everyday work takes up a lot of time, but that doesn't mean people can't find moments to relax, such as taking walks, weekend trips, or vacations. If you truly desire to transform yourself, you can always find the time to do so. The key is to have a deep-seated desire for change. 47. At the beginning of the spiritual path, everything seems difficult. However, this is where we gain experience, and gradually our desire and determination to follow the path becomes stronger and more resolute, allowing us to transform our minds in any situation, whether at work, in family life, or during daily chores. As a result, we become more mindful and attentive. Practicing Dharma means continually refining oneself by wisely using our time. If you feel envious of a more successful colleague or jealous when someone possesses something valuable, immediately work to transform your mind with antidotes to eliminate these negative emotions. The best way to deal with such situations is to cultivate joy and happiness in the success and good fortune of others. 49. There are no limits to our desire for understanding our minds and developing our human qualities. We can infinitely expand this aspiration, meaning we will never be fully satisfied with what we have achieved. However, why can't we fully develop qualities like compassion, love, and tolerance? It is because the desire to develop these inner qualities is profoundly deep, vast, and boundless. 50. We must be vigilant about the nature of our motivations. If they are kind, this will be reflected in our actions, speech, and thoughts. Changing mental habits is essential for improving the mind and actions arising from it. For example, we should avoid harming others, be mindful not to be driven by arrogance and jealousy, and not always think in terms of gain and loss. When negative emotions no longer occupy us, our behavior will change, becoming more altruistic, and our activities within the community will benefit others. 51. Everyone has a unique nature and tendencies, so it is difficult to say that something is universally beneficial for everyone. However, I think it is possible to advise everyone to cultivate an enlightened spirit, which includes love for others and the determination to improve oneself, to help others, and contemplate impermanence from all different perspectives. 52. We give too much importance to the past and future. We live and see the past and future as if they are present, forgetting that we live in the present moment. The most essential thing is to live in each present moment, as these are the only times when we can truly transform our minds by cultivating positive emotions to care for others. 53. Meditation is a way of thinking that helps us grasp the present more easily and live it peacefully without being haunted by past or future likes and dislikes. Whenever faced with a problem, it is essential to assess its true importance. If there is a solution, implement it immediately. If there is no solution, worrying is useless and will only increase your distress. So why worry? 54. Negative thoughts and emotions obscure our true nature or radiant essence. They are numerous, and if we cannot overcome them, they will drag us into any situation they wish. Whether one is a Buddhist or not, everyone can think and ask themselves, is there an I thinking that this is me? Is there something called I or self existing somewhere? Through practice or contemplation, we can distinguish between a person experiencing an emotion, such as jealousy, anger, or hatred, and the emotion itself. As we get used to this analysis, we can more easily identify what is happening inside us, helping us separate the mind from what is agitating it, thus allowing us to control it. 55. Whenever you feel uncontrollably stressed and anxious, look at the self and observe how it dominates you. Understanding its true nature through introspection will help alleviate these anxieties. 56. Understanding the interdependence between people and phenomena helps cultivate nonviolence globally and individually. Interdependence is one of the most fundamental principles of Buddhist teachings. All things and beings exist only through interdependence with each other and the world. Nothing exists independently. Everything depends on an endless chain of causes and conditions, which themselves are interdependent. 57. Phenomena continuously change because the law of interdependence and interaction governs all beings and events. We are constantly changing because causes and conditions must interact and relate. However, people tend to blame a single event as the sole cause of good or bad outcomes, putting all efforts into acquiring or eliminating it depending on its perceived benefit or harm. This attitude shows a lack of understanding of the principle of interdependence and interaction among all beings and phenomena. 58. No single cause or person can be the source of our happiness or suffering. To understand this, we need a broad and comprehensive view of all things and to expand our perception of reality. This helps us realize that our experiences result from countless causes and conditions governed by interdependence. Thus, blaming someone or something as the sole cause of our suffering is irrational. We must take responsibility for our lives, whether good or bad. This is the law of karma, the law of cause and effect that applies to everyone impartially. Understanding and accepting this brings peace to the mind. 59. A narrow-minded person is considered less wise, while a broad-minded person is called a sage. Understanding interdependence, combined with wisdom and knowledge, broadens our minds and helps us pause to observe our experiences. 60. Thinking about interdependence and understanding it means seeing the true nature of all things and the functioning of reality. This transforms our perception of the world and changes our habits and behaviors. Therefore, when facing suffering, do not despair and think it is unfair. Instead, consider that many others experience similar difficulties and develop a broader perspective on all things. Rather than focusing on your own suffering, sacrifice yourself to help those who endure similar pains. This approach initially seems challenging because it requires reducing selfishness, but gradually it will bring true peace to your mind. 61. Wisdom helps us envision the operation of interdependence, while understanding enables us to grasp the true nature of all things. Always remember these to cultivate compassion and love for others. It is clear that expressing love and compassion for others benefits both them and ourselves. Conversely, harming others harms us. In the first case, both parties benefit, and in the second, both lose. 62. Understanding interdependence is crucial for addressing terrorism and fanaticism. People think eliminating these issues will solve difficulties. Of course, we cannot ignore the seriousness of extremist actions, as that would be a mistake. However, we must also understand that these behaviors stem from many causes and conditions. Many reasons contribute to such attitudes. Some people, overly attached to their religious traditions, have narrow views, isolating themselves from reality and creating their behavior. A broader and more enlightened view of all things, both short-term and long-term, will give them more confidence and resilience, helping them choose a different way of acting. 63. It is crucial to establish personal discipline to transform our inner selves. This discipline should not reflect external imposition for any reason, but must arise from understanding and awareness of the benefits of maintaining it. 64. If we want to improve our professional skills or gain more knowledge about a subject, we must dedicate time to study and practice. We must prioritize what is most important and practical for us and strive to achieve our chosen goals and aspirations. The same applies to spiritual life. Choose suitable personal disciplines. 65. We are all human beings with similar desires. I am no different from you. Whenever I encounter difficulties, I also look inward, analyze what is happening to gain some clarity. This positive reaction is something each of us can do. We live in countries with abundant material conditions, technology, and amenities, but we cannot solely rely on external circumstances to find happiness. Peace, serenity, and tranquility can only flourish within our minds. Therefore, creating the necessary conditions for this development must also come from within. 66. We must strive to create lasting happiness for ourselves. Temporarily hiding our worries isn't too difficult, like enjoying a cool beer to feel good. However, this pleasure is fleeting, as worries will return. To achieve lasting happiness, we must improve the functioning of our minds. This is the advice I always give my friends. 67. It is not necessary to follow a religion to transform your mind. Whether you believe in religion or not, anyone can change their mind. While spiritual traditions offer means to achieve this goal, they are not the only path one must follow. For this definitive reason, I often promote a millennia-old moral foundation applicable to all people regardless of faith. 68. All specific religious or cultural doctrines become outdated, allowing humanity to come together on a non-religious ethical foundation based on more universally human principles. This is a true revolution, rooted in human qualities like compassion, love, tolerance, respect, and a sense of responsibility. 69. Respecting the happiness of all sentient beings is fundamental in Buddhist ethics, meaning we should do nothing wrong or harmful to any sentient being. This forms the foundation of nonviolence, compassion, and love for others. If the ultimate goal is to create as much happiness for others as possible and bring them great benefits, it is crucial to make every effort, moment by moment, to achieve that goal. The moral precepts, Shila, are one of the elements that help us achieve enlightenment, alongside meditation, samadhi, and wisdom, prajna. These elements complement each other. Living without moral precepts will lead to behavior that harms others, causing pain for others and sowing the seeds of suffering for oneself. We must be clearly aware of this to develop an ethical foundation based on understanding and wisdom. The highest ethical quality is placing others' happiness above our own. 71. Troubling emotions cloud the mind, preventing us from considering the consequences of our actions and leading us to act negatively towards others. Transforming the mind means eliminating the destructive mental factors hidden within us. To achieve this, we must meditate, recognize the benefits of maintaining ethical discipline, and abandon selfish concerns. We should care for others, directing our attention and thoughts positively towards them. This gradually helps us achieve the ultimate goal of ethical discipline, bringing goodness to all sentient beings. This can only be realized by maintaining precepts, fostering honest, right, and truthful conduct. 72. Understanding that we harbor an infinite potential for love within ourselves helps us develop affection, love, and compassion for others. We can all naturally feel love for others, similar to the instinctive bond between a mother and her baby. Without this natural maternal love, we wouldn't survive. This innate ability allows us to recognize and feel affection in our surroundings. 73. We often neglect an essential form of discipline, not behaving immorally towards ourselves. We should neither harm others nor ourselves. We cannot bring goodness to others if we despise ourselves. Recognizing our deep desire for happiness is legitimate. Realizing this and creating conditions for our own happiness allows us to share that happiness with everyone. Therefore, when reciting the Bodhisattva's vow to help all beings achieve enlightenment, we must first vow to realize it for ourselves. 74. Sometimes we may harm others unknowingly. In such cases, the karmic impact differs from that of intentional negative actions. The intention behind our actions is crucial in determining their consequences. 75. The motivation behind actions can significantly influence the karmic results, often more so than the actions themselves. For example, if we intend to harm someone but remain silent without expressing any aggression, it does not mean we are not harboring harmful intentions. In reality, we have an intention to harm, even if our actions outwardly appear harmless. From a Buddhist perspective, in terms of ethics and karma, the motivating intention guiding our thoughts is of utmost importance. 76. Buddha taught, "We are what we think. Our thoughts shape our world." Proper conduct and ethics positively impact the world, showing that things are not merely illusions or mental projections. Our perception of the world is a projection, a mental creation unique to each person. For instance, two people might perceive the same object differently. One sees beauty, the other sees ugliness. Scriptures explain that our perception of the world results from accumulated karmic experiences recorded in our consciousness over countless lifetimes. 77. Always believe in humanity. Deep down, people are good and full of compassion, each with the potential to become a Buddha. However, we must also recognize that aggressive emotions can lurk within individuals, prompting them to act. 78. Knowledge, experience, observation, and medical science all agree that a calm, nonviolent mind leads to a peaceful and harmonious life. Cruelty, hatred, and mental obsessions negatively impact physical health. Conversely, a serene and relaxed attitude positively affects health and well-being. 79. Our happiness and suffering are closely interconnected with those of all sentient beings. Recognizing this connection fosters love, openness, and kindness towards others. These qualities can be cultivated without relying on religious doctrines or traditions. 80. Whenever you feel a craving or mental disturbance, immediately observe the arising negative thoughts and emotions to avoid falling under their control. Being aware of them helps prevent actions leading to negative karma. For example, if someone insults you and you react with anger, it shows you are being controlled by your anger, preventing a more thoughtful and appropriate response. This indicates we are not in control of our actions. 81. Self-discipline should not mean simply telling ourselves, "I must not do this or that because it's forbidden," but understanding the short-term and long-term consequences of our thoughts and actions, realizing that certain actions cause suffering to ourselves and others. This type of self-discipline, based on reasoning and analysis, is more effective than one rooted in fear, such as fear of a policeman. 82. Ethics play an increasingly important role in today's advanced societies. Nowadays, media and public opinion constantly scrutinize the ethical conduct of leaders, politicians, doctors, scientists, judges, and others. If they do not respect ethics, the public and media will sharply criticize and expose them. Such reactions force those in power to act more honestly and less hypocritically. 83. The role of the media is crucial in our democratic societies, providing us with freedom. The media strive to promote human values and respect objectivity. I often compare the role of the media to an elephant's trunk, probing everywhere to expose injustices and social issues. However, besides exposing, they should first highlight the positive aspects of the world. Typically, when a disaster occurs and becomes news, it receives excessive attention. Disasters and tragedies dominate the media, while positive actions, altruism, and immensely beneficial projects happening daily around the world receive little attention. This is unfortunate because such positive actions could serve as examples for many others. Focusing only on the negative aspects of human nature can eventually lead to a loss of belief in humanity's goodness. 84. The five senses contribute to human emotions. Therefore, music, painting, and sacred art can influence our emotional states, helping us transform negative emotions into more positive ones. Music, in particular, has the power to open us up to profound levels of our being. 85. Generally, it is crucial to avoid harming others through any form of violence. However, in some specific cases, a minor harm can prevent a greater harm. Thus, we should not always mechanically apply general rules but carefully assess each situation. Ultimately, we must weigh happiness and suffering to minimize harm. 86. Everything depends on the motivation behind it, even in science. For example, using genetic discoveries to treat diseases is commendable. However, using advances in this field to harm others is an act of violence. 87. When discussing spiritual matters, I do not necessarily have to talk about religious issues. One should not rely solely on external factors for happiness and joy, but should focus on how to transform their own mind. To me, true spirituality is about thinking and acting with altruism. A spiritual revolution does not come from external conditions or advancements like computers or brain treatments, but from within, from the deep desire to improve oneself and become a better person. This is something we must practice, as it is the only way to bring about a true spiritual revolution. 88. Negative emotions arise within the mind, impacting and controlling it, thus enslaving us to our own creations. Most of these emotions appear and disappear suddenly, just as they arise. This does not mean we should underestimate their power, as they can be devastating to ourselves and others. While Buddhism offers methods to prevent and transform these emotions from the moment they appear, it is better to be mindful of what is happening inside us. Such mindfulness is effective only when we understand our motivations. This is the difference between a self-chosen practice that helps us progress in the way we desire and an imposed practice that eventually leads to dissatisfaction and resistance. Mastering our mind means understanding the reasons behind our practice, thereby increasing our confidence and determination. 89. Ending karma. The effects of the law of cause and effect governing cycles of existence means eliminating the fundamental ignorance that controls our lives. Ignorance gives rise to all emotions, especially craving, hatred, jealousy, and all other negative emotions. These emotions will continue to dominate our mind and enslave it until we achieve enlightenment and eliminate all suffering. This is something we need to consider to find ways to escape the emotions created by ignorance. 90. True practice is not in places of worship, but outside them. In the world where we face real-life situations and interact with people who can evoke all kinds of emotions, including hatred, love, and desire. Practicing any religion involves more than just praying. It is about developing positive emotions such as compassion, kindness, generosity, a sense of responsibility, and giving without expecting anything in return, treating everyone equally without distinction between friend and foe. 91. To overcome negative emotions, we must use our intelligence to develop understanding and strengthen positive emotions such as compassion, trust, love, and kindness. Cultivating wisdom and understanding alongside positive emotions is the only way to not only overcome, but also eliminate negative emotions. 92. Mental suffering can be more intense than physical pain. A person who is ill, living in poverty, or facing difficulties can still feel happy if they maintain a calm and peaceful mind. At worst, the situation may not cause them distress, or it may only minimally affect them. Conversely, Someone living in a harmonious environment but with a mind constantly agitated by conflicting emotions cannot find happiness. The most important thing is to create peace within our mind to live a happy life. 93. Hatred, attachment, and jealousy unbalance the mind and disrupt its tranquility in interactions with others. Maintaining a calm attitude does not mean being indifferent or disconnected from the sufferings of all beings. It means treating everyone equally without favoritism or hatred, always with compassion and love, and helping all beings achieve enlightenment with all our strength without discrimination. 94. We often expect those we help to show gratitude in some way. If they do not, anger or resentment may arise in our minds, or we might even think of harming them. By training our mind and observing what happens within it, we can stop this process and eliminate the disturbing emotions that drive us to violence. Alternatively, a relatively easier method is to see the person we are dealing with as a teacher helping us develop patience and compassion. Think of this method whenever facing similar situations. After mastering the initial step, you will find it easier over time and it will bring peace to your mind. 95. There are many ways to cultivate patience. Understanding the law of karma is one of them. When facing difficulties at work or dealing with a problem, think that you are responsible for the suffering you endure because you created the causes of that suffering. Although this does not solve the problem, it can help you view the situation with less tension, pause to observe more carefully, and understand that you must avoid creating new karma through unwholesome thoughts. 96. Confidence in oneself and one's qualities is not arrogance. It is crucial to have self-confidence, believe in one's talents and unique qualities, and use this foundation to create goodness, friendliness, compassion, and kindness. Faith and trust are essential for developing human qualities. They are fertile ground for nurturing positive emotions. 97. Adults, whether or not they are parents, have a duty to love children deeply. Education is not just about intellectual development, but also nurturing the sensitivity of the mind and heart, as well as human qualities such as compassion, kindness, and responsibility. Moreover, educating children should include teaching them that we are all interconnected in this world, helping them understand the consequences of their thoughts and actions. Finally, it is crucial for adults to set an example for the children they guide and educate, as leading by example is the best way to teach the values they wish to impart. 98. It is an illusion to think we can change others without first changing ourselves. Achieving peace in the world starts by reducing conflicts between nations to end wars. To reduce social injustice and create a better world, we must first change ourselves, impacting our immediate surroundings, including family and friends. Once we create an atmosphere of compassion, kindness, and joy within that small circle, we can expand its influence to friends, neighbors, and beyond in a snowball effect. Transforming our mind helps us care more for others through the power of altruism, influencing the entire world and contributing to peace among people and nations. 99. In daily life, the more balanced, peaceful, and content our mind is, the more happiness we will experience. An untrained, unruly, and negative mind brings much suffering, both mentally and physically. Therefore, it is clear that a disciplined and content mind is the source of happiness. When we discover and develop this disciplined and serene state of mind to a certain extent, it is called the truth of the path leading to cessation. Illusions are eliminated from the mind, as initial misconceptions made us grasp things and events as real. 100. Buddhist teachings tell us that in the continuous flow of our lives, all beings have at some point been our parents. Believing this immediately reduces conflicts between people and offers a different perspective on those we consider enemies. Negative feelings are consequences of past karma that distort our view of someone we see as an enemy. The enemy is an external manifestation resulting from factors we helped create, which altered our perception. It is crucial to understand this to avoid generating negative emotions towards others or external factors, as these are not responsible for what happens to us. 101. Living harmoniously with the world to benefit others is essential. To do this, we must align with reality and the times we live in. As a practitioner, I am obliged to make my faith accessible to everyone and applicable in today's modern world. 102. In democratic countries where human rights are respected, animal rights are often grossly violated. According to the principle of interdependence among all beings and phenomena, we are all connected. We often forget and do not consider how negative actions impact our lives, both short-term and long-term. Overexploiting animals in nature will have severe future consequences, especially on food and health. It is essential to organize social systems to protect the environment and animals. 103. Most religious principles arise from observing human attitudes and emotions. These principles aim to enhance human qualities like compassion, kindness, and mutual support. Buddhist teachings and practices help Buddhists achieve nirvana, liberation from all suffering. The desire to achieve this ultimate goal does not mean neglecting one's living conditions. Creating favorable living conditions also helps us assist other beings more effectively. For example, without money, it is hard to live, but money should be placed in its proper position and not regarded as an almighty deity. It is a mistake to believe money can satisfy our fundamental needs. The priority is to attain a healthy mind, functioning positively to bring peace to our hearts. Everything else is secondary. 104. The only true power we can possess is to serve others. To me, that is genuine power. All other forms of power, especially those based on money, require caution and awareness, but unfortunately, those who hold such power often forget this. They must be more mindful and careful in understanding their motivations. Politicians are the same. Democracy is built on the principle of separation of powers. The executive, legislative, and judicial branches must be independent. This separation is a safeguard against those who are madly in love with power. 105. On a human level, I make no distinction between a national leader and an ordinary citizen. We are all brothers and sisters with the same basic needs. Spiritual development is essential for everyone. However, I believe it is more beneficial for those with significant responsibilities than for those tentatively following a path and living outside secular life. Government leaders, politicians, and business owners are vital figures in society. Their positive or negative actions impact the lives of many people. To create positive actions and just motivations, they must develop spiritually to avoid harming others on a large scale. It is urgent for leaders to develop compassion and a sense of responsibility. The world needs these qualities to build peace. Number 106. A few decades ago, no one cared about environmental issues. Leaders in the public wrongly believed that the Earth's resources were inexhaustible. Today, most political parties discuss the environment. This shift has occurred due to practical experience. Although current governments are not fully active in conserving natural resources and preventing greenhouse effects and deforestation, they will gradually follow the outlined path. This hope gives me great courage to work towards a better future. 107. Enlightened beings are role models for practitioners to follow. They encourage us to strive harder to become like them, helping us develop wisdom and compassion like theirs. Intelligence can achieve this goal only when it is no longer controlled by negative and harmful emotions, the sources of suffering. Therefore, intelligence driven by a good motivation is an invaluable support. Maternal love binds a mother to her child, not stemming from passionate attachment. A mother never expects anything from the baby in her arms. She feels a duty to it, always wishing to create joy and safety for her child in any situation. Such love, if untainted, closely resembles true compassion. Deep compassion harbors no attachment. Therefore, true compassion should be shown indiscriminately between friends and enemies. When we reach that level of practice, we will no longer distinguish between sentient beings, wishing all to be happy. We care for everyone unconditionally and without distinction, even for someone trying to harm us. This does not unsettle us because we have found peace within our minds. However, this does not prevent us from being cautious and taking necessary preventive measures, but we must not harbor hatred, anger, or resentment. Thank you for listening. If you found this video helpful, please share it with those who might benefit from it. Don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button, follow, and turn on the notification bell. This is how you can show your support for me. Once again, thank you very much, and see you in the next videos.